Hola y bienvenidos a nuestro nuevo video de Costa Rica. Hi and welcome to our new video from Costa Rica. In this video we'll climb the country's highest peak, Cerro Chirripó. We'll spot wildlife in Corcovado and Manuel Antonio. We'll also explore the cloud forest of Monteverde. And we'll enjoy Caribbean vibes in Puerto Viejo, plus coffee and chocolate tour. And other adventure along the way. So let's jump in!
Before coming to Costa Rica, we actually had almost no plan. We knew one thing for sure. We wanted to climb Cerro Chirripó, the highest mountain in the country. With everything else, we just decided to let it flow. But sometimes, travel plans itself. While flying in a hot air balloon over Teotihuacan in Mexico, we happened to meet a family from Costa Rica. And when we told them we were heading to Costa Rica without much of a plan, they immediately started giving us tips. If you want wild nature, go to Corcovado. Don't skip Puerto Viejo and make sure you see Monteverde, they said. And suddenly, those places became more than just dots on a map. So, right after landing, we went straight to pick up our rental car. In Costa Rica, distances stretch longer than they look on the map. Roads can turn from asphalt to gravel without warning, and sometimes they almost disappear. But we loved it. Driving from the airport into the mountains felt like stepping into a softer, greener world. The roads were slower, the air more humid, and the landscape incredibly lush. Anyway, our first stop was San Gerardo de Rivas. We arrived at Casa Mariposa after dark, tired and not really aware of what surrounded us. In that moment, it was just a place to sleep. But with the first daylight, everything changed, and we saw how extraordinary this place truly was.
Cada día doy las gracias a esta vida. Cada día me nace.
Waking up here felt different, not like staying in a hotel, but like being inside the forest itself. The house didn't really have a boundary. It slowly faded into the garden and the garden into the jungle. At some point we realized that this place felt more like a botanical garden or a tropical pavilion in a zoo, except everything here was real. And then the toucan just showed up, eating papaya right in front of us, like it was completely normal. San Gerardo de Rivas is the main gateway to Cerro Chirripó, the highest mountain in Costa Rica. But before the climb, we had one full day to slow down, recover, and prepare for the long trek ahead. That morning, we decided to explore nearby Cloudbridge Nature Reserve. Cloud forests are some of the most unique ecosystems on the planet. They exist only in very specific conditions, where clouds constantly feed the forest with moisture. That's why everything feels alive. We were filming a waterfall from above. Everything felt calm, but then something went wrong. The drone suddenly stopped responding. Within a second, it crashed straight into the river. For a moment, we just stood there, watching it lie in water. But it didn't drift away. It got stuck in a small pool on the other side. And that meant one thing. We had to go get it. The river was strong, cold, and fast. But I tried to find the safest way across. At one point, it looked like the current almost took me. But I made it, completely soaked, holding the drone. Alive. Well, sort of.
When you moved out, your mother said, if you give love, you get love in return. If you only knew you had so many bridges left to burn.
On the way back, it started raining. But here, rain doesn't feel like a problem. It felt like part of the experience.
You put your trust
Everything
in
was
all
wet.
that way.
The air, the ground, the trees, even the silence felt
You
humid.
measure all in what you own. You don't worry about your hair.
Back at the apartment, we used the most advanced repair method we knew. Rice. We had no idea if it would work, but at least it felt like we were doing something. And then we slowed down. Coffee in a hand, rain all around us, but completely dry under the roof. This was one of those rare moments when you don't feel the need to go anywhere, because you are already exactly where you want to be. That evening, we stayed in, cooked something simple, opened a bottle of wine. After days of moving, this felt like a home.
So, we've just started our 2-day hike to Cerro Chirripó, the highest mountain of the Costa Rica. It's raining a little bit, but there's nothing that could stop us.
It started exactly how we imagined, rainy and humid. The kind of weather that doesn't look dramatic on camera, but you feel it in every step. This wasn't just an ordinary hike. We were heading towards the highest point in Costa Rica, but first we had to earn it. Right at the beginning of the trail, we had a small moment of doubt. We noticed a man walking ahead of us, with a machete and a dog. He didn't look like a tourist, and for a second, we weren't sure if it was a good idea to follow. But after a while, we realized that he was just a local farmer heading to check on his cattle. Moments like this remind you how quickly your mind can jump to conclusions, and how often they are wrong. The trail began in dense cloud forest. Everything was wet. Leaves, trees, the ground, even we were soaked. At this point, it still felt easy. We were fresh, curious, stopping for every detail. After a few hours, we reached our first stop. A hot drink never felt better. Around 2,500 meters above sea level, and this is where it slowly started to hit the altitude. Breathing felt a little harder, steps a little heavier.
How are you doing?
I'm hungry.
As we climbed higher, the forest began to change. Trees became smaller, lichens slowly disappeared from the trees and started covering rocks instead. The jungle slowly faded away. This transition is what makes the mountain so unique. Within a single hike, you move through completely different landscapes. At some point, the forest was just gone. Even though we were getting closer to our destination, it didn't feel easier. With every meter of elevation, every step became slower and more intentional.
So after 15 kilometers, we made it. Albergue Crestones.
And we arrived just in time, literally 30 minutes before they stopped serving lunch. Food never tasted this good. After hours of hiking, a simple meal felt like a reward. But the comfort ended there. No heating, no hot water. And it was freezing. We slept in hoodies, jackets, 2 pairs of socks and 2 blankets. And the summit was still waiting, just a few kilometers away. But that would be tomorrow. For now, we just needed to rest. After a quick breakfast, we packed light and started our final push to the summit. It wasn't far, but at this altitude it still felt challenging. This time, the weather was on our side, sunlight breaking through the clouds. As we gained elevation, the landscape started to open up. The terrain became rougher, steeper, more exposed, and the views just incredible. We were getting closer, just below the summit. So let's just take a moment and enjoy it.
We did it! We are at the highest point in Costa Rica, 3,820 meters. And look at these views. That's nice.
At the top, the weather kept changing. Clouds moving fast, views coming and going. So we stayed for a bit, taking it all in. And then it was time to head down. The descent was long. And not long after we started, the rain came back. Slow at first, then heavy. Within a minute, everything was soaked. The trail turned slippery and the way down felt even longer. We passed the same shelter as the day before, rain pouring down around us. Even the animals were hiding. But we kept going, all the way down. And finally, the car. Completely wet, tired, but happy we made it. We hit the road again, heading south towards Corcovado. One full day of travel ahead of us, and final stop, Puerto Jimenez. We broke the journey in Ubita. Nothing special, just a place to sleep and do our laundry. Sometimes that's all you need. Back in the car the next morning, we made a small detour, Playa Ventanas. But getting there took a bit of effort. It was just a short stop, ocean, fresh air, and back on the road.
Rain season.
By the afternoon, we finally made it, Puerto Jimenez. A storm was rolling in across the bay, but we still squeezed in a bit of time by the water. In the evening, we headed out for dinner. Seafood, ceviche, a couple of beers. Just slowing things down after a long day on the road. And also, getting ready for what's coming next. Tomorrow, we leave everything behind. 2 days in the wild. No roads, no signal. Yeah, this one's going to be worth it. So, see you in the morning. We woke up early, before sunrise. Today wasn't just another day, it felt like the start of something bigger. Getting into Corcovado National Park isn't that simple. You can't just walk in on your own. So we booked a 2-day hike with a local guide. We met our guide at the port just as the sun was coming up and headed straight out to sea. The plan was pretty intense. Boat ride in, full day in the park, overnight at Sirena station, and then 18 kilometers back on foot the next morning. We decided to sit at the front, which maybe wasn't the best idea. The ride took almost 2 hours, and honestly, it felt longer than a full day of hike. Every wave hit hard, not just the boat, but your whole body. But at the same time, it was incredible. Along the way, we spotted whales, dolphins, even sea turtles. At that point, it didn't really matter how uncomfortable the ride was. We reached the park entrance later that morning and stepped straight into the jungle. No time to wait, we headed out for our first walk right away. It didn't take long, just a few steps in, and everything started moving above us. Spider monkey, one after another, swinging through the trees. We stood there for a while, just watching the whole family pass overhead. And it wasn't just up there. Even the ground told its own stories. Right beneath our feet, things were just as busy. And then, signs of something much bigger. Fresh tracks. A reminder we weren't alone out here. As we were leaving the jungle, another guide started waving at us from a distance, telling us to hurry. We quickly made our way over. Tapir. Not just one, a pair. Just walking calmly, right in front of us. We were told they are used to people here. They know no one's a threat. But our guide? He was on a completely different level. Eyes everywhere. Spotting animals, we would walk the right path without even noticing. And then more movement. Squirrel monkey this time. Smaller, faster, everywhere at once. Step by step, we were getting closer to Sirena station. This would be our base for the night. Time to eat, settle in, and slow things down a bit before heading back out again. After a short break, we headed back into the jungle, and it didn't take long to find something again. Tapirs, this time just resting in the swamp. A completely different scene, but with the same calm energy. We moved on towards the river, hoping to spot crocodiles. No luck this time. But then, something else caught our attention. Sloth. High up in the canopy. At first, we couldn't see anything at all. Without our guide, we would have just walked past. But slowly, it started coming down. It almost didn't feel real. The way it moved, like everything was slowed down.
100 kilometers per hour.
This place, it's hard to get enough of it. You could spend days here and still feel like you've only seen a fraction. But we had a long way ahead of us the next morning, so we took it slow. A quiet afternoon, dinner, and an early night. Tomorrow we walked it all the way back, so good night. Sometime during the night, I woke up to this sound. Mental howler monkey. You don't really need an alarm clock out here. Even in the middle of the night, the jungle doesn't really go quiet.
Good morning.
We had 18 kilometers ahead of us, mostly along the coastline and the edge of the jungle. That's why we started early, trying to get as far as possible before the tides come in. With the tide still low, the beach was wide open, and not just for us, most likely jaguar tracks. Strange to think, just a few hours earlier, something big walked right through here. Not long after, we had to cross a river flowing straight into the ocean. No signs of crocodiles, so we went for it. Most of the way followed the coastline, but it never gets boring. We kept running into wildlife along the way, like this colored peccary. And then, something new again, coati. This place really doesn't slow down, so let's just take a moment and take it in. Every now and then, the ocean brings something back. not shells, plastic. It's strange seeing it all the way out here. But every once in a while, even in all that mess, something's still useful. Our guide found a piece of rope and decided to take it with him. At least it gets a second life. Step by step, the distance started to fade. And just like that, we were getting close to the end. A ride was waiting for us here. Back to the car and back on the road again. Another long drive ahead of us. Next stop, Manuel Antonio National Park. A bit of slower pace this time. Some time by the ocean just to unwind. And later, back into the jungle. This time at night. So, see you there. We started the day slow. Just a short walk down to the beach. Today was meant to be easy. Nothing planned until the evening. At one point, the ocean brought us a small surprise. A coconut, just floating in. We cracked it open, drank it, ate it. Seems like we would be able to survive here even without money. We spent most of the day by the ocean. Even here, the jungle never really lets go. Right by the beach, we run into a white-faced capuchin monkey. And just a moment later, a Central American agouti. It never really gets old. Every walk turns into something unexpected. We had a night tour ahead of us. Something we were really looking forward to. We'd already slept in the jungle, but in Corcovado, nights stay quiet. You are not allowed to leave the station. So this felt like the last missing piece. By the time the sun went down, we were on our way to Rainmaker, a night walk through the jungle, looking for whatever decides to show up. Eventually, we even spotted a scorpion. And that was it. The jungle doesn't go quiet at night, it just changes. It was honestly such a great experience, seeing how the jungle keeps living through the night. Tomorrow, we are heading to Monteverde. More nature, and this time, a coffee tour. Nos vemos allí. See you there. The next day, we hit the road again, leaving the coast behind, and the landscape slowly starts to change. Monteverde feels completely different. More hills, more green, and cooler air. We were ready for that. We didn't wait around. Our first stop in Monteverde was a coffee plantation. We both love coffee, so seeing the whole process up close, that was something we were really curious about. From growing and picking, to drying, roasting, and everything in between. And then the best part, tasting. Different methods, different flavors, but one stood out right away. A medium roast, Dried in the sun for 4 weeks. Miel honey. That one stayed with us. From the plantation, we head straight into the park. This time, no guide. We just wanted to walk at our own pace and take it all in. Everything feels greener here, denser and wetter. You can almost feel it in there. We don't see that many animals. They are probably somewhere out there, just hidden. But even without them, it doesn't really take anything away from the experience. Tomorrow, we are heading towards Laguna de Arenal and Arenal volcano. On the map, it doesn't look that far, but here, that doesn't really mean much. So we'll see how the road treats us. Today's plan was simple. Leave Santa Elena and make our way to a campsite by Lago Arenal, about 50 kilometers. We picked the shorter route. Seemed like the obvious choice. It started off easy, but pretty quickly the road got smaller and rougher. If we paid a bit more attention, we probably would have noticed what we were getting into. First river crossing, no problem. Then another one, and another one. At this point, it almost felt normal. Nothing too crazy, still manageable with our car. And then we saw this. Wide river, strong current. This one wasn't happening. And we weren't the only one thinking that. We were about a kilometer away from the campsite. 1 kilometer. But that was it. So we turned around and accepted we'd be spending the rest of the day in the car.
So the thing is, we needed to go from Monteverde to La Fortuna, and we chose the shortest way, but not the most comfortable one. There were 4 ways on the road. 3 of them we could pass, but the last one was really deep and it was bigger. Didn't look really safe to go through. So the thing is, we need to go back. It was like 1 hour ride, and we need to go like 2.5, maybe 3 more hours to get to the place where we wanted to go. And the best thing about it is that we were like 2 kilometers from the place and we couldn't go through the border. So yeah, pura vida.
Not exactly how we imagined the day, but the road had its moments. The views kept changing, and somehow we added a new animal to the list, an armadillo. We made it to the campsite late in the afternoon, but this was worth it. And then something unexpected. I tried turning on the drone and it actually worked. Small win for today, and look at this view. To be honest, Arenal wasn't really the main goal, just a stop along the way, but we were heading for the Caribbean coast, Puerto Viejo. So the next morning, we got back into the car and kept going. It took us another day to get there. This was it, our last stop of the trip. From here, it's just the way back to San Jose and the flight home. But first, a bit more time by the ocean. Here, nature had one more surprise. A sloth, right by the beach. To wrap up our time in Costa Rica, there was still one thing missing. Chocolate. So we set off to visit a cocoa farm and learn how it all actually works. It turned out to be much more than just cocoa. We walked through a garden full of plants, fruits, and things we'd never seen before. Everything growing side by side, all somehow connected. What surprised us the most was how long it all takes. Cacao tree needs around 3 to 5 years before it produces its first pods. And even then, it's just the beginning. There's fermenting, drying, and a lot of waiting. We got to try the whole process ourselves. From crushing the beans, to roasting them and turning it into actual chocolate. And the taste? Really good. Simple as that. Looking back, these 2 weeks were something else. The whole time we kept hearing one phrase, pura vida. And now we finally understand what's behind those words. We are slowly getting ready to head home, but at the same time, we already know that this won't be the last trip. We are really glad you watched until the end. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you haven't seen our previous adventure in Mexico yet, feel free to check out our earlier videos. Hopefully, see you again sometime.